Hey everybody, welcome to a reading sprint with just little old me tonight. I didn't do my best planning of asking any friends to join me until last minute, so no shade to my friends. That is completely my fault, but that's okay. We're all just here to read in silence together anyway, and I'm definitely good at talking to myself in the meantime, so it's good. It's good. We'll wait a little bit till some people can show up. Yes, thank you if you choose me over the Olympics. That's very nice. I mean, I guess you can have both of us on too. But yeah, if you are for some reason literally joining this because of FaRoFeb and not because I showed up in your I want to you subscribe to me, thank you. I'm very excited about this. Fantasy romance is my first true love, as I say. Basically the reason that I read romance only is because of fantasy romance. So, Charles, I literally finished her video 2 minutes ago. I started watching it right away. I love it. Earbuds for Jen, TV for a hobby. I love it. Hey, Stacy. Hello. Hey, Heather Lee. Hello, Dramini Forever. Happy to have you here. I'm a stan. Oh, Jess. See, there you go. You have it on in the background. Yeah, but what was I saying? See, I'm easily distracted all the time. But yeah, basically, I tell this story that I basically read YA fantasy for years. That was my main thing. And then eventually I also read historical romance. So I did I had historical romance and I had YA fantasy is what I would read. And I slowly realized that the thing I liked best in the fantasy was the romance. And it was never spicy enough. It never gave me everything that I needed, right? So then I transitioned over to romance, pretty much all that I read. So thanks, Tori. Some of my cute merch. I ordered one of these in a super size so that I could have lots of space. I like to be able to roll my sleeves up, and sometimes these big sweaters have the tiniest little sleeves. But So anyway, what is everyone reading? I'm going to show off a couple of things while you guys comment, and then I will. First, if you follow my Instagram, you know that I recently started bullet journaling for reels. And so for Christmas, one of my friends gave me a pack of 4 of these black ones, and I have it stickered up now. Most of this sticker, I'm backwards. This sticker is from Bree because she's awesome. And then one of my friends gave me a Yellowstone sticker for Christmas, which was sweet. And then so I have my FaRoFeb TBR is one of my flat lays. So there it is, real pretty. So I have 4 books on my TBR for this week. And I've already found a bunch of other fantasy books that I want to read. So that's a good thing because I'm not always in the mood for fantasy these days. So I'm excited about it. So the books that I'm currently in the middle of right now is I am halfway into A Strange Hymn. I'm about here. I'm listening to this one on audio. And I'm really liking it. I'm glad that I dived back into this series. And then I just started Sealed in Sin by Juliet Cross, which actually the re-release just came out today. I'm supposed to be reading. I was supposed to have read an arc for that one, but I was saving it for readathon week. So sorry, Juliet. I'll put up my review as soon as I finish it. But that is a angels and demons romance. And it's about the same couple, all 3 books. And I'm really liking it. So I don't know which one I'll do, whether I'll do the audiobook or I'll probably read Sealed in Sin just because I'm in the mood. But I shared this on my Instagram last night. I'm really into this monster series that's like a fantasy romance. The covers are not the best thing I've ever seen. Okay, they're not. But I am obsessed. I'm obsessed. I finished Eden today, and I have Reich on my Kindle now, which is supposed to be like one of the really bad monsters, like a big bad monsters. And I want to read it so bad. I want to read it so bad. And I'm like, I'll probably dive into it. But I'm going to try to read for this 40 minutes. I'm going to try to read the books on my TBR because we should do that. Okay, now let's go back and we'll see what everyone's reading. Now that I yacked for a little bit. What do we got? What do we got up here? Crown of Midnight. Love it. Love it. Blood Mercy by Bella Ross. I've saw a couple people are reading that. That one looks interesting. I'll be starting Broken Chains by Demelza Carlton. Ooh, that sounds interesting. Rereading the Vampire Queen series, their Vampire Queen series. Heather Lee, you get it, girl. That is a spicy series. You're reading Annie's Song. Well, I approve since that's for my book club. So, Melissa, you get off the hook. Ruthless King by Allison Ames. Nice. Neon Gods. Yes. So good. So good. You're staying up late in Scotland to read with me. Oh, well, that's wonderful. I'm excited. Cursed by K.K. Allen. Cool, cool. I gotta read. That's right. That's right. I know that book is very emotional for everybody, but I'm happy to make you all suffer with me because I read that book last year and I bawled my eyes out. So I was like, hey, let's make you all suffer together. Got another historical here. The Rogue Not Taken. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to start The Solace of Sharp Claws. Ooh. Monica. Yes. Entreat Me is amazing. I'm so jealous you get to read that for the first time. Seriously. When I have a 6-star book, I immediately wish that I could read it again for the first time. It's amazing. Reading Pestilence. Met Laura Thalassa at an event yesterday. The beginning of the book. Yes. Yeah. And I hear from people who read the whole series that it gets better from not necessarily less brutal. I'm pretty sure they're all pretty brutal since it's the 4 Horsemen, you know. But I only read Pestilence. I read Pestilence probably in 2015. Like, I read it pretty soon after it came out. It was before anyone was like really talking about her as much. I mean, I know this series was already out, so maybe it wasn't 2015 because I think this series came first. I don't know, whatever. But I never did continue after Pestilence because I just wasn't totally into it. But I hear that some of them are better. I need to get back into Laura Thalassa. Yes. Can I ask a question regarding FaRoFeb? Can you read non-FaRoFeb authors? Oh yeah, absolutely. Wow, that was very northern. Oh yeah, sure was. Anyways, that was my Minnesotan coming out. I apologize. Yes, you can. That's only one of the prompts is to read a FaRoFeb author. You can read anything in the fantasy romance genre. Absolutely, you can. Those are just the FaRoFeb authors, you know, are just people that wanted to collaborate with Harriet for this year. I mean, I'm reading quite a few authors that aren't a part of it. So that's totally up to you. Like, just make it fit in the prompts if you want, or just read like the whole point is to just be having people reading fantasy romance, right? So it doesn't matter if they are on the list of people who are a part of it, you know? I'm reading From Blood and Ash and a KU book. Nice, Penelope, mixing it up. You're reading Pestilence right now. Well, perfect, Chris. There we go. I guess we're all just twinning with Laura Thalassa tonight. I like it. You're still reading Monstrous, the graphic novel, and you want to read The Bridge Kingdom. Nice. I have seen some of the art for Monstrous. That looks very interesting. The Ippos King, great book. I just read that one like 2 weeks ago, I think. Already finished the vegetable. I saw that, Monica. I saw you say that you had. I heard you say you read it like before her re-release though, right? Which I think is interesting. Maybe you should do a reread. I don't know how much you like the spicing of it, but part of the reason I waited to read this series is she told me that she was going to be spicing it up some more. But I love that you'd read it before. Like, that is true fandom right there. In the middle of rereading The Shadows Between Us. After that, These Violent Delights, or Guild. Nice. Guild is on my TBR this month too. I read Annie's Song in January because I knew I needed to be in the right headspace. Yes. Reading There Are No Saints. Great choice. I read Annie's Song this weekend but didn't cry. Well, not everybody cries. However, I just finished Under the Whispering Door and that messed me up. Oh, you did read the arcs. Okay, you just read super fast. That's awesome. Okay, all right, enough of me blabbing. That I am like prepared this time. We're going to do, I got the timer to sit like that since it's just me. Oop, which way? This way? Nope. There. Nope. I don't know what I'm doing. You can see it right there. Why am I trying to point at it? I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. We're going to go ahead and read. And it's going to be great. I'm very excited. Thank you all for being here with me and my awkward self on a Monday night. This is what we get. This is what we get. All right. Start your Kindles, everybody. Okay. There we go. Make that go away. Here we go. Hello. All right. How was that for everybody? I got to almost 40%. I made it a good ways in. It's very good. I really like the sexual tension happening here. Like to see all the people reading for book club. This makes me very happy. Tiffany, of course, was rereading Annie's song because when I originally read it, I immediately made her read it. Chocolate, Alec. If you're going to grovel, always go with chocolate. I love it. I love it. Only read a couple chapters, but outside dinner. Nice. I was good at being focused this time. I think it's because I really want to get this one done, hopefully tonight even, so that I can write my review. And then I'll be great. I will have got the review done the same day that it's supposed to be done. So got through 70 pages. Nice. Got through 3 chapters. Nice. I didn't get as much done as I wanted. I was interrupted by a FaceTime. Oh. Well, Penelope, you got to talk to your daughter and granddaughter. Totally worth it. Well, how about before we end this, because I know it's just me, so there's not someone for me to chat with about this, but since it's FaRoFeb, let's do some recommendations. What is your favorite fantasy romance ever? And so say what it is, and then use 5 words or less to say why. How about that? That is a very heavy ask, but let's do that for the next 5 minutes. So try to answer that. Your favorite fantasy romance ever, and in 5 words or less, why it's your favorite. You're reading a fantasy romance arc, trying to finish it, and then start Annie's song. Love it. Finally getting some sexual tension and pestilence. Yeah, that one is very interesting. 50% in, so things are heating up in mine. Finished my novella, and now it's time to pick up my next FaRoFeb. Also reading Annie's song. Yeah. Okay, so for me, well, my favorite fantasy romance ever is A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Mila Vane. In 5 words, I would say how would I put that in 5 words? I know it's a difficult answer. I'm trying to think of. Man, I made this too difficult because I can't even think how to put it down to 5 words. Shame on me. I would say this. I would say, yeah, A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Mila Vane. Strength comes from within. That's what I would say. Also, Yevin. Yevin, strength comes from within. There we go. All right, let's see. Everybody's throwing up some good ones. See, you did great. You said it better than me. Perfect blend of fantasy and romance. That's right. See, that's what I didn't want to say because that's what I say all the time. But Yevin is the reason why it's amazing. Akamath, Chapter 55, and Bad Boys. Nice. I think my favorite is To Target the Heart by Aldrea Alien. Gay princes, explores homophobia, and it's soft. Interesting. Beauty by Robin McKinley. It's written on my heart. I love it. Akamath. Reese, Cassie, and Asheville. Love it. A Promise of Fire. Oh, another great one. Haven't read Heart of Blood and Ashes yet. Yeah. I mean, you definitely should. I got sucked into a web novel, but at least it's still fantasy. Nice. I'm really intrigued too. Sorry to pull this back around, but that book I talked about on my Instagram, Soul Eater, I'm going to finish the rest of that series very soon. But the newest series the authors started is a fae romance. It's an MM fae romance. So that one's going to be fantasy too. What's it called? When I was adding all of her books to my TBR, because that's what I decided to do, I saw that her newest series is going to be, it's gay fae romance. And I'm like, hello, I'm ready for this. What's it called? Mortal Skin. And it's going to be called the Folk series. Let me pull up a picture of it. So this just came out last month, but there's a picture of it. Mortal Skin by Lily Main. And it says it's an MM fae romance. And so this one's going to be a trilogy, though, so it ends in a cliffhanger. But she puts out a book pretty much every month, so I'm not worried about it. But it has a cold, black-eyed assassin prince who strikes fear into the hearts of all the folk. Very interested. I'm just loving this author. She writes just soft and squishy heroes who seem like they should be evil and scary, but are just delightful. Okay, what's some other people saying? The Kitty series by Carrie Vaughn. Werewolves, hunters, tension, action. Love it. I don't read a lot of fantasy romance. I'm picky about my balance of romance and fantasy, and for some reason I have a hard time finding the perfect balance. I mean, I have a lot of fantasy romance that is not my favorite. So I definitely agree with you, Lexi. Part of the reason why, and I say this on my channel a lot, part of the reason why I don't read a ton of fantasy romance is because I'm also very picky. So I completely agree with you. And the books that are my favorite are because they are equal parts romance and fantasy. Like A Heart of Blood and Ashes, that book falls apart without the romance and it falls apart without the fantasy. Like they are equal. And I think that's a very difficult balance to set, because when you've put so much work into building the world, maybe your story could stand without the fantasy. But for me, for a book to truly be a fantasy romance, the romance has to be integral to the story somehow. That's my own personal, like, what I'm looking for. Like, I mean, a fantasy romance can be anything that's fantasy where the romance is also important and there's an HEA, because it's a romance if they're together in the end. But I agree with you, Lexi, because my own personal thing is I need them to be like a perfect balance of both. So yeah, that's a great thing to say. Ever pulling out the big guns. Yeah. Hey, oh, River of Shadows. Nice. Well, Ginger, we actually were only doing one reading sprint for this. This one was just one tonight. But River of Shadows was very good. Dance of the Fae Prince by Elise Kova tonight. Oh, April, we did a reading sprint. We did a 40-minute of reading. This one isn't going 3 hours like I have done before. So this one, we're just chatting for a little bit, and then I'm actually going to wrap it up. Right now it's Radiance. Yeah, Masterful Friends or Lovers. That is a great way to say it. That one is so beautiful. I completely understand. Desperate Measures. All Aladdin should have been. I love it. My first fantasy romance was Tiger's Curse. Nice. Daughter of No Worlds, badass heroine, soft hero. Sweet. Nice. That's how I feel. I want the romance to be equally as important. Yep. I mean, there are a few. I think it's tough too because when I'm looking for fantasy romance recs, it's very hard to know who to trust to give you the rec because what they consider fantasy romance might be different from what you're looking for. So I get that. Recent Dark King, best RH. Conclusion yet? Well, there we go for the RH lovers. It's been hard to find good ones, especially pre-BookTube days. Yeah. I know that I had pretty much watched every rec video that was for fantasy romance that was out there. And there were a lot of like more YA ones, there are definitely still fantasy romances that are YA. You know, they just don't have the smut level that we're going for, because that's the other thing too. Maybe the romance is very important to the fantasy, but maybe I want there to be more banging. And then I don't always get that. So even A Heart of Blood and Ashes, like, just being straight up, that is my favorite fantasy romance ever. And there couldn't just be banging going on because it's a very important part of the plot that they can't just be banging whenever they want. Like, there's a very specific thing happening. So that's one where even like I was so compelled by that story, and the romance is very important. But that one's not the spiciest out there, even though one of its most famous scenes ever happens on page 60 and is a bloody hand job. Like, that is a very famous part of this book. It's why I picked up the book. It's why a lot of people picked up the book. But that doesn't mean that it is a 5 chili pepper book. It's, in my opinion, it's more of like a 2.5 because there's not that much going on. But River of Shadows, yeah. I know, Ginger, I'm sorry. I'm kind of boring tonight. I could have done multiple reading sprints, but I ended up on my own for this, so we're just doing one here. On also the Otherworld series by Kelly Armstrong. Yeah. So I read some Kelly Armstrong. That is interesting. I actually read one of her YA series. I read a trilogy by her back. I don't think I was still in high school when I read it, but I was just out of high school. And I really love that trilogy. It was about twin sisters who each have like it's not called a spirit animal, but they each have like a companion, a familiar. I loved that trilogy. Loved it so much. Although it's more paranormal. Good. Yeah. Well, I love it. There's some great recommendations in here. I love it. Yeah. Well, this was fun. I mean, thanks for showing up. I was surprised how many people came I know I'm competing with the Olympics and we got people all over the world happening. But this was fun. I'm really happy I made it through 40% of my book, and I'm really excited for the other ones this week. Let me pull this up. Give me a second. Let's see where the next one is. So we got a big schedule here. Let's see. What is the schedule? Because I know Jessica has one. Let's see. So hold on. We'll just share screen with this too. FaRoFeb. What do we got here? All right. So tomorrow, oh my goodness, there's freaking cookies that I gotta share. Okay, we accept it. All right, there we go. Hold on, sorry. Okay, so tomorrow there is a virtual panel. And then on Wednesday's the next reading sprint. And that's going to be at Becca's and the Books. And that one's at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Yeah, because she's in the UK. So 1 p.m. Central. And then Jess on Thursday is hosting a reading sprint at 8:30 p.m. EST. Well, I won't be able to make that one because I got book club on Thursday. But some of you guys, those of you who are not reading any song, can maybe go to that one. And then on the 11th, There is an interview with Raven Kennedy on Becca and the Books channel. That's cool. And then there's a virtual panel on Saturday. So yeah, we got some cool events happening this week. Fun, fun, fun. Love it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you everyone for coming. This was so much fun. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your FaRoFeb, reading all your fantasy. And yeah, I will see you next time we do something. Have a good night, everybody.